What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Panthers Advice. It's been a little bit, got a little busy, but we're back, man. Training camp is right around the corner. You better believe we're going to have content almost every day for that. Stay tuned. But today's video, we're going over training camp preview as far as key dates, notable additions, as well as departures, who's no longer on the team, and biggest storylines from this past offseason. Something I want to talk about, though, is the Panthers. They went 2-15 last year, and the most shocking part to me about this, you know, the fact they went 2-15 is a shock in itself. But one of the teams they beat two, but one was CJ Stroud and the Texans. You know, the whole comparison between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and they beat the Texans. To me, that's just funny in itself. But let's talk about training camp real quick. Rookies reported yesterday, July 23rd, the veterans report, man, and then it gets real serious. Let's talk about the 2024 draft class. For those of you who don't remember, the Panthers traded up, drafted XL out of South Carolina. Big country boy right there. I like it because the Panthers need a receiver. You know, will he be that guy? We'll see, but seems to me like there's a good chance he is. Then they drafted Jonathan Brooks, running back Texas, probably one of the best athletes in the draft. Obviously, he's coming off that ACL, and that scares some people, but if we play him right, give him his time to come back, this dude, he could be a beast. Trevin Wallace out of Kentucky. If you haven't already, go check out that video. He's an athletic linebacker. He's not going to be your Luke Kuechly type, which is fine. He's going to be the guy you send on some blitz. Another person commented on my last video saying he's a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Then let's talk about Ja'Tavion Sanders. I like the pick right here because it tells me Ian Thomas or Tommy's going to go next year. I believe they both have, 1 or 2 years left. Ja'Tavion Sanders is that new guy, right? I think Tommy has a lot of potential. Will he fit in Dave's offense? That's the big question. You know, Ian Thomas, same thing kind of applies there, right? There was a lot of talk about him early on, April, May-ish, right? Is he going to fit in Dave's offense? You know, Dave wants Ja'Tavion Sanders. And that's the thing. When a new head coach comes in, they're going to pick the guys they want. So it'll be interesting to see. We've got 3, probably 4 or 5 now if you include everybody. But between Tommy, Ja'Tavion, Andy, and Thomas, who's going to stay? Then we got Smith Wade, DB out of Washington State. I'm slacking. I should have already had a video on him. Stay tuned for that. That'll definitely come this upcoming week along with a lot of training camp stuff. And then our last 2 picks, you got Jaden and Michael Baird. I love these 2 picks right here because that's where we have the most depth at when it comes to the team, right? The front 7 is where we have the most depth and probably the most talent when it's all said and done. So that's going to give Jaden and Michael a lot of really opportunity to learn from a lot of guys, whether it's Clowney, Derek Brown, Josie Jewell, DJ Wanham. There's a lot of guys that these 2 can learn from. But now let's talk about some additions and departures. Rashad Penny joins the team with a stacked running back room. I mean, just off the top, right? You got Brooks, you got Sanders, you got Hubbard. Rashad Penny's number 4. I mean, that running back room is stacked. Then we look at our top departure, probably DJ. And DJ just never really panned out. The next guy we're going to talk about is Dionte Johnson. Somebody who has even more potential than DJ came onto the team with. Dionte has crazy potential. Him and Pittsburgh didn't seem to get along. They didn't mesh. However, him and Carolina, they could do big things. Another departure, Laviska. And this one to me was shocking because there was a lot of talk this time last year about Laviska. And then I think FanFest, Laviska was in different packages. And then we never saw him. We never saw him. This time last year, so much hype around Laviska. And then we never saw him. Next guy I talk about, David Moore. Next departure, Hayden Hurst. Remember, he got a concussion after that. Never really saw him. And even then, we never really saw him for the first 5-6 weeks either. I mean, there was times where we did. I don't blame Hayden to a point. I feel like the packages, if you go look at the packages he was in, I remember in the first 3 to 4 weeks, they had Hayden Hurst lined up on the far side in the slot running a whip route. Hayden Hurst running a whip route on the 3 or 5 yard line opponents. And that's when I knew this season, or I didn't know, but that's when I had a feeling like, oh, this is only going to get worse. The next guy we're talking about is Robert Hunt. and Damian Lewis. Two beasts. Two guys that should change the team. If the team doesn't win this year, I don't know what to do. But let's not even go down that rabbit hole. Bradley Bozeman didn't pan out, and then departure, Brian Burns. Oh, that one hurts. That one hurts because the Panthers play the Giants this year in Germany, I believe. They play the Giants this year in Germany. Man, that one's going to sting a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. They bring in another linebacker. They get rid of YGM. You know, I wasn't the biggest fan of YGM, but I felt like he showed flashes every now and then. But they get rid of him. They bring on Jadeveon Clowney. All right. As of right now, I'm okay with that. They lose to Sean Williams, but you know they brought in a couple guys as well. Then they also bring on DJ Wanham, who is a beast in Minnesota. Then they lose Hill, and to me, I kind of liked him. He was like a fan favorite kind of guy. I don't know what his ceiling was. I don't know if he hit his ceiling or not, but I did like Hill. Then they bring on A'Shawn Robinson, a beast and anchor in the middle. You got Derek Brown on one side, A'Shawn Robinson on the other side, and they can put really anybody else on the other side. Havoc should happen. The next person they lose is Deion Jones, and Deion he never panned out, right? He never panned out, which was super unfortunate. I was super hyped that the Panthers got him. It just didn't work. Then we got the outlaw, Josie Jewell. Now, Josie scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. Only because that dude will do things to basically rile up the offense. He'll do things to get under their skin. We're going to see what he does in Carolina, man. I'm excited to watch him. Then we have Frankie Louvu. This one kind of sucked because Frankie, man, he was doing some big things. But, you know, it is what it is. Goes on to Washington. They sign Dane Jackson. They don't keep Griffin or CJ Henderson, which I know a lot of you guys are happy with. Sign two safeties, Jordan Fuller and Nick Scott. They lose Dionte Jackson, which I believe was in the trade with Diontae Johnson up at the top. Von Bell and Jeremy Chin. Let's talk about those real quick. Von Bell, to me, never panned out. I watched him. I wasn't mad at his play like I was watching CJ Henderson because I just didn't understand what he was doing sometimes. Von Bell I don't know. I guess I was expecting more of a playmaker. It is what it is. And then the big one to me is Jeremy Chin. I'm shocked Double E didn't like him. I mean, Double E's got the 3-4 defense, right? And he'll run the nickel defense. Not putting Jeremy Chin as a nickel back in the defense, it honestly shocked me. I didn't understand why you wouldn't want to use him. Maybe I'm not seeing what he's seeing, or maybe I don't understand the concept as well as I think I do. So I'm going to trust Double E on that. Let's talk about preseason real quick. Week 1, potentially the Panthers' only prime time game. Thursday, August 8th, NFL Network. I don't know if there's another game on at that same time. If there's not, this is a Panthers primetime game. Week 1, it's not a big deal, but we'll see what happens, right? Week 2 against the Jets. I got to say one thing right here. If Bryce Young gets cheap shotted again against the Jets and nobody does anything, at this point I might just give up on the season. I don't remember what the dude's name was last year on the Jets, the linebacker, but he got a couple of good shots on Bryce Young, and the offensive line didn't do a damn thing. That's when I should have known. I have the clip somewhere on my computer. If that happens again, we might as well call it. If the Jets are going to tee off on Bryce Young, just call it if no one's going to do anything, right? That was pathetic last year. Week 3, Buffalo Bills, 1 p.m., August 24th. Interesting preseason schedule here. 3 completely different offenses. We'll see what happens. 2024 schedule notes. The Panthers are tied for the 3rd easiest strength of schedule based on their opponents' 2023 win percentage. Carolina plays 4 or 5 games at home from weeks 12 through 16, and the Panthers finish with back-to-back road games. Interesting stuff right there. So that's going to wrap it up. Let me know what you guys think of this. I mean, we went over a lot. You know, the draftees, who did we add, who left the team, in the schedule, preseason, and that's right here, the New York Jets. It better not happen again. With that being said, let me know what you guys think. That's going to wrap it up. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy.